Today we are going to be dealing with remainders. I have a few practice problems for us to complete. So a bakery donated 273 cookies for the end of the year 5th grade school party. How many cookies does each of the 84 students get if they share the cookies fairly? So we're going to answer this question on the whiteboard, but we want to look at these other questions. It says solve the problem, show your work, write an equation to represent the problem and the answer, and then explain what you did with the remainder, if any, and why. Okay, so in this problem, let's start with the equation. So we had 273 cookies, and we are going to divide them amongst, it says 84 students. So the actual equation that we're solving is 273 divided by 84. So now, it says solve and show your work. And I'm going to use the big 7 since we've been practicing it last week. Obviously, I'm going to do my little cheat sheet ratio table over here just to show. So one group is 84. If I had 10 groups, it's obviously 840, way too big. So I'm probably not going to go that big with it. I could do 2 groups, like if I doubled it, that would be 168 doubled, which is pretty close. So let's just try 2 groups here. So if I have 168, let's subtract. Gives me 105 left. And then we'll do one more group of 84. 21 left over. So my answer is each student will get 3 cookies and 21 is the remainder. So what do you do with that remainder? Well, in this case, it is the number of cookies or the amount of cookie. Can you break a cookie into a fraction or a decimal? Yes, you can. So in this case, we're going to take this remainder and we're going to put it up here with the 3. It's actually 21/84. That's the part they're going to get. Now, last week we talked about simplifying our fractions, and we definitely can simplify this fraction. Now, it is a little bit more complex of a fraction, but me, looking at it real carefully, I notice that 21, if I actually multiply 21 times 4, or this number down here, if it goes from 1 to 4 and 2 to 8, it's actually times 4 gives me 84. So I'm going to divide my fraction by 21/21. Remember, because we always divide by a whole, any number divided by 1 equals the same number. It's just simplified. So 21 divided by 21 is 1, and 84 divided by 21 is 4. So my answer here is actually 3 1/4 cookies. Each student will receive 3 1/4. So in this case, we did use the remainder. We actually used it in our answer and we included it. The second problem we're going to practice is that there are 814 students going on a field trip and they have 31 buses. How many students should go on each bus if they split up evenly on the buses? So we're going to do the same thing, solve the problem, showing our work. We're going to write an equation to represent the problem, and we're going to explain what we did with the remainder if we did anything. Okay, to start, we're going to start with the equation. So it said we had 814 students, and they were going to be divided evenly on 31 buses. So there's our equation that we're going to be solving. So once again, we're going to use the big 7, 814 divided by 31. And I'm going to make my cheat sheet list over here, right? So one group is 31. I want to get up to closer to 814. So if I did 10 times that, it'd be 310. So if I double this, let's do 20 groups, it'd be 620, which is getting me closer to this amount. And I can come back and add more if I need to. But let's start there. So we have 20 groups, which equals 620. So 20 groups of 31. And we're going to subtract. And I get 194 left. So I don't have anything close over here. Let's try half of 10. So half of 300 is 150, half of 10 is 5. So it'd be 155. That one works real good right here. So 5 more groups of 31 is 155. And then we have 39 left over, which is 1 more group of 31. And that'll give us a remainder of 8. So the answer is going to be 20 6 with a remainder of 8, or 8/31. Now, can we put a fraction on a person? What is this 8 representing? The 8 is representing how many students are left. So on 31 buses, we're going to put 26 students each. But then I have 8 students that are not on a bus. So what does that mean? It means that 8 of those buses are actually going to have 27 students. So the answer is going to be, this is the 26 with a remainder of 8. However, we're going to break that up for busing. So we actually will say that 8 of the buses will have 27 students. And then what's the remaining one? So it would be 31, take away 8, which would equal 23. So 23 of the buses will have 26 students. So in this case, we had to use the remainder a little bit differently. We couldn't just say there was 26 students on 31 buses. We had to use the remainder for some, because 8 students would just be left back at the school. That doesn't make sense. The third problem we're going to work on is Green Lake School is serving cake to their 840 students on the last day of school. Each large cake serves 48 students, so how many cakes does the school need? Once again, we're going to solve the problem showing our work, write an equation to represent the problem, and we're going to explain what we did with the remainder, if anything. So to start with the problem, we need to write the equation. So we have 840 students, and we're going to divide it by the number of servings per cake, which is 48. So we need to figure out how many cakes is that going to be. So 840 divided by 48. And once again, I'm going to make my ratio table over here. So if one group of 48 is 48, let's do 10 groups would be 480, which is getting us closer. If I doubled this, that would be 960, which is too big, so that's not going to help me probably. So this 10 is probably the best one. So let's start right here with 10 groups, which equals 480. So if I take away, I got 360 left. Let's do 5 groups, which would be half of 480, 240. And that would give me 120 left. If I double 48, that would equal 96. So let's do 2 groups. And that equals 24 remaining. So this is 17 and remainder of 24. Okay, so let's talk about this. How many cakes do we need to purchase? I hope you guys are realizing, well, you can't ask for a remainder. And technically this is a fraction too. I could write this as 24/48, which if you guys didn't realize or notice right there, this is half of that. So it actually is 17.5 cakes is how many I need. But when I order it from the store, am I gonna say, I need 17.5 cakes, please? Do you think that they're going to let you purchase that? No, they are not. So you're going to actually need, the answer is 18 cakes. The final problem we're going to work on is Green Lake School wants to improve the landscape around the school. The principal collected $476 from 56 parents to plant new trees. If all of the parents donated the same amount, how much did they give? Again, we're going to solve the problem, write an equation to represent the problem, and explain what we did with the remainder, if we did anything. All right, so to start out, we're going to write our equation. It was $476 divided by 56 parents. How much did they each give? That's what we're figuring out. So we're going to start with 476 divided by 56. So again, one group of 56 is 56. If I did 10 groups, it's 560, which is too much here. So let's do half of that. Half of 500 is 250. Half of 60 is 30, so it should be 280. Let's start with there. 5 groups is 280, 5 groups of 56. And if I subtract, I got 196 left. So maybe if I double 56, it'd be 112. So if I do 2 groups of 56, I get 84 left. That means I can do 1 more group of 56. And I get 28 remaining. So then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups with 28, 56 remaining. Now, this is a money problem. Can whole dollars break into smaller? Yes, yes they can. We have change, and that change is what this 2856 is. So let's figure out, can we reduce or simplify this fraction, 2856? So I'm going to put it down here on the bottom here. So 2856. Last week, you guys were supposed to find simplest form by finding greatest common multiples. So if you look here, if I did that, I'd say 1 and 28, 2 and 14, I don't know about 3, 4 and 7 works though. So I have all these numbers. So I need to figure out what number can 56 be multiplied by. Well, I didn't hear, oh, you did hear me say 7. 7 times 8 equals 56. So if I actually multiply or divide this by 7 sevenths, because remember, 28 divided by 7 is 4, and 56 divided by 7 is 8, it gave me a simpler form, which I actually could have divided it by 14, but if we didn't realize that, we can start somewhere. Now I have 4/8, and if you and I both know, that is equal to 1/2. So this is actually 8 1/2. How do I write a half in dollar form? You are great, 50 cents. So the answer is $8.50. So in this problem, we use the remainder because we could actually transfer it into decimal form. I hope these practice problems will help you when you are trying to figure out what to do with your remainders.